ready. I have a lot of notes ready for this review, and very basically, after the session, I just wrote down a lot of stuff and didn't film it when immediately after making the exercise session because I thought I'd just be feeling really tight. No, because I thought I would want to watch a video in which I'm just feeling really tired, and it shows through not only how I look, how I was laying on the sofa, but also through how I was speaking. So I'm making it now at 1:24 the next day. I'll point over there because that's where my notes are. I said I experienced a lack of motivation, what I called a motivation dip, by the 30 rep mark, but I kept going regardless. As I noticed it thought that'd change as I get around to doing 60 reps to get around this when I got to the 60 rep mark, as that's past the halfway point of the 50 of which would be 50 reps in this session, seeing as I did 100 reps, give or take. If not, it was over. During these sessions from this point onwards, from this session onward, if I take them in sets of 10 reps and I sometimes pause during those reps, then I can expect this to happen, as this is at least the second time I remember having these sorts of thoughts whilst having a session in which I wanted to do 100 reps. I don't know why that'd be though. I didn't write this down. I don't know why that's the case. It could be because mentally I'm getting bored. It could be because I without realizing it, I could see 100 as a big number because I'm pausing. So 100 reps would take longer than, say, if I weren't to do that and I were to do them at a moderate pace. If I were to do the squats, for example, 100 reps, no pauses between the 5 sets of 20 reps I could do, for example, then I might not see that amount of reps as overwhelming as I might do if, say, I were to take it in 10 sets of 10 rather than 5 sets of 20, and within those 5 sets of 10 I pause during the reps. That's a longer session compared to doing the reps without breaking at a faster pace in 5 sets of 20, even though I'm making it more challenging by doing more reps per set. I actually want to hammer on about that a bit more before I move on to the next point, which is about my knees clicking. Maybe this is something I should do more research about. When I think about this idea of experiencing motivation dips and motivation increases and motivation spikes, you could call them, I think this is all to do with sports psychology, and I'm, in my opinion, doing myself a disservice if I don't educate myself on sports psychology, because it, as I'm showing now by making it the first note that I wrote down, it's, or it at least could be, a fundamental part of exercise psychology. What's going on here? Sports psychology meaning psychology related to sports, or in this context, just general physical activity, exercise. If you, on the premise you don't want to call calisthenics a sport, whether it is or isn't is not related to this video, and it's not something I'm willing to debate here. But yeah, sports psychology, I still say that what I'm talking about in that point, that motivation dip and also motivation spike, is related to sports psychology. As I said, I thought I'd experienced what I'm now calling a motivation spike by around the 60 rep mark, and it happened because I was thinking, yeah, you only got 2 sets of 20 reps, because by that point I wanted to actually just take it in 20 reps, which I did. I actually made that happen. There are quite a few pauses during the reps, but I feel happy with what I did. I feel happy with how I did during those 20 reps a session. That's a feat and a half for me, especially seeing as my sessions would be in the double digits per session as a whole, doing less than 100 reps each session, like maybe 20 to 30 reps per session, due to lack of planning and what else? I'm not actually sure. When I can now, I'm starting to understand why I'd now look from side to side away from the camera, because I think that is the way I help myself think on the spot, by looking away from the camera. Even though the camera is just as much of a part of the phone as the back of the phone is where the camera isn't. But yeah, okay, I can understand why I do that sometimes now. I use it to help me think somehow. Anyway, I'm gonna actually make a note of that on the laptop, and I'm gonna say I think I should learn more about sports psychology, as these thoughts about motivation dips and spikes are related to that topic. Okay. Yes, that was not me fake typing. I can touch type. Been doing it for years. The next point I made, as I said, was about my knees clicking. Wait, are you still recording? Yes. Still in frame? I think so. Anyway, what I said was, I think I should stretch before these squat sessions, in particular. That's what I meant. So my knees aren't clicking during the reps, for the sake of my knee. It says knee help, but I meant knee health. I'll change that quickly. Because stretches like deep squats before starting the main squat session could help with no longer experiencing knee clicking. Very basically, I went online and I saw that could help with no longer experiencing knee clicking. And according to the same website, knee clicking could be a sign of osteoarthritis. Osteo meaning bone, and arthritis meaning inflammation, or at least the itis does. I think that's common knowledge. But the arthritis, the arth part of the arthritis, I'm not actually sure what that means. See how I looked away from the camera to help myself think? Yeah, I'm at least noticing it more. But anyway, yeah, I'm not sure what that root, I think you could call it root word, is. But yeah, I'm not trying to experience that. And seeing as I'm going out my way to take care of my health, I don't think it's something that I should go out my way to neglect. It being taking care of my joints, for example, and not experiencing injuries that I could have avoided, such as osteoarthritis, seeing as I've learned about it in the past, not only as I was researching it yesterday, but also as I've been doing my courses, my level 2 gym instructing course, and also my level 3 personal training course that I'm doing at the moment. I remember researching about or learning about bones, and a part of that subject or that topic in the level 2 course, I think it was, I'm almost certain it was osteoarthritis. Something to do with bone inflammation. That might be all there is to it, but the arth part of arthritis might, well, I'd imagine, gives more detail as to what that condition is as a whole, excluding the osteo and the itis part. I'll see if it helps. I'll warm up during these sessions to see if it helps. That's what I'll write down as a solution, because I'm not trying to experience that like how the website said in my 50s and onwards, and that potentially being a health condition I have for the rest of my life. I'll say warm up by doing deep squats and just holding the position. I'll call them deep squat holds, and see if my knees click less after doing, see if my knees click less during the main part of the session. After doing that warm-up and warm-ups like it, after doing that exercise to warm up, and exercises like that. So basically just holds in squat position and other sort of holds that involve the upper leg, maybe even the lower leg as well. I think I remember my knees clicking during calf raises as well, so it's not just, I'm not going to necessarily just get my knees clicking or hear my knees clicking from doing squats alone. If that 200 rep calf raise session did cause my knees to click, then that's the very first time I've heard that from calf raises, but I'm not certain. The next point that I made was I was taking the session in sets of 10 reps to begin with, but then I started taking them in sets of 20 reps by the 60 mark. As I said, I'd lose pace if I carried on going. Let me just read the whole thing out. I was taking the session in sets of 10 reps to start, but I started taking them in sets of 20 reps by the 60 rep mark, 2 sets of 20 reps to make that 40 to get from 60 to 100. And I did those sets with quite a few pauses in between them so I could do the 20 reps with ease. I wrote down I would lose pace, but what I meant to say was I did lose pace. I lost pace because I thought I wouldn't be able to do this set of 20 reps unbroken if I carried on going. But the workout could have been more challenging on my muscles if I did keep going when I paused. There's something that I can build on over time as I learn when I want to pause, or as I find out when I want to pause during sets of 20 reps and just not pause when doing them, when doing those reps. For example, I might find I start to pause during the 7th rep if I just not pause during the 7th rep and prepare myself for that pause by remembering that I've paused at the 7th rep of a 20 rep set in the past. I can just keep going and then take my abilities to do 20 reps for squats and other exercises if I use this way of going about things to new heights. Yeah. The next point I made was I was experiencing lower back pain soreness that I didn't expect during some of the reps when I was holding my lower back, which I tried to show when I was holding my lower back, and I also felt some quad soreness too. Hold on a second, we're still rolling. This was definitely muscle soreness and not muscle pain. It wasn't like I felt pain in my coccyx. That is painful. That's not soreness. That is my spine screaming at me. And in fact, as I lean forward now, my spine's screaming at me. So let me change my posture. I felt like my knee was going to click there as I just extended my quads. Anyway, I'm actually going to write that down. Leaning forwards can help with increase lower back pain. Leaning forwards / poor posture can increase. I felt it in my upper back actually. Upper back spine pain. Just below in between my shoulder blades, but just below them. So I'll say near my shoulder blades, but just below them. And I'll write down, as I said, this was definitely muscle soreness and not muscle pain. That I was talking about here, as I was feeling it in my core muscles at the, around my back. Rather than my coccyx. There you go. So yeah, it's just something I have to get used to, really. This is nothing to worry about. Okay, in terms of light during the session, the flashlight definitely was not cutting it whatsoever. I'm gonna have to use a garden light or my flashlight, which I've got in my room, if I want to be seen with more ease during those nighttime videos, because the flashlight just only lit the floor within like arm's length from about where I'm putting my hand right by the camera to where my torso is right now. That's all it showed. So I need to use like the garden light that will show way more and light way more than just that. I did talk about this on camera, or at least tried to, but it cut off, so I'm gonna say it again. I had a lot of fun exercising at night, and the temperature was similar to feeling pleasantly cool with the help of an AC when it's just been hot all day, and the AC, for example, is finally working and you've got that temperature that you've been looking for. This is a sort of experience that I've had in the gym, for example, when it's really hot and you turn the AC on, you could just feel that breeze just hit. And the nighttime temperature, the cool nighttime temperature, felt just like that, but throughout the entirety of the session, it felt really pleasant, I must say. Pardon me, I wasn't freezing, I wasn't shivering, it was just cool, like pleasantly cool, temperature-wise. And as I wrote down after talking about that, I definitely plan to do more of those sorts of videos at night, because I found it fun, and also because I think it helped me with experiencing more peace of mind at night. I've written about this quite a bit, and I don't have the mental capacity to read it out right now without feeling even more mentally stimulated than I already am. But there is one point that I really want to hammer on about before I show the rest of the notes that I've got here, because mentally I just want to recover. And it's to do with mental energy and constructing it through specific channels. As I was reading out the notes that I already made before going to sleep after doing the session, and as I was talking about it on camera, which wasn't recorded because storage was full, I was thinking that if I'm not constructing my mental energy through outlets that I've consciously picked, for example, and exercise, I'm allowing the mental energy that I do have to run wild. And when I do, I open up the path of stimulus independent thinking, which for me personally is just thoughts in which I feel fear and worry, or thoughts that aren't healthy for me to think. For example, these sorts of thoughts which I'd say aren't healthy to think, but in which I don't feel fear over either, is more so based on sexual thoughts actually. And although I think it's more than okay to have a sex drive, with these sorts of thoughts within this stimulus independent thinking lens, it's more so just about allowing myself to experience lust as a crutch, as a means of emotional regulation, and I don't think that's the healthiest way of going about regulating my emotions. I do this when I'd experience a lot of stress, for example, and thinking sexual thoughts, and for example, fantasizing about the idea of having sex, or imagining what it's like, seeing as I've never had sex before. I would feel more at ease thinking those sorts of thoughts, but I think if anything, it's more so a crutch than a healthy long-term solution. It's a solution for emotion regulation, but not the healthiest one I could pick. And I think what I should instead do is to carry on noticing the sorts of feelings that I'd experienced both before and after using the thoughts of sex as a means of emotional regulation. Just see what happens, and therefore find out the sort of feeling that I'd want to experience to get to a more balanced state, from going to one extreme of feeling really stressed to another extreme of feeling more at ease, to then get back to a balance. I'd rather try and stick closer to that balance throughout, but sometimes it is going to be like that, where I go from one extreme to another extreme due to experiencing some things. That's going to happen, but the more I control what I experience those highs and lows from, I'm predicting the more emotionally stable I'd allow myself to be, and the more aware of my emotions I'd allow myself to be, and therefore I think the higher I'd be letting my emotional quotient level be at. It's the emotional equivalent of IQ. The next thing I wanted to talk about was that it took me 2 takes rather than 1 due to the storage being full, and having the flashlight on was actually really helpful in this regard, because I could see it go off when the first take finished due to full storage. So I definitely will have it on when I'm exercising during the night as an obvious indicator that the clip has ended, because I don't have any other obvious indicator. Like during the daytime, I've got no obvious indicator that the storage is full, or the clip has ended, because I use the front-facing camera. I don't use the selfie-facing camera, so I can't tell unless I flip the camera like this and then go back to filming. That's why I do this sometimes when I say, oh, are we still recording? Yeah, yes we are. And I was actually thinking about putting the flash on during the daytime for this, potentially to do the same thing for the same reason, but it just made the visuals look a bit different. I was actually wanting to test that out, so I'll do that after this video. And the last note that I made is the fact that it was 10 past 12, basically at midnight, as I was writing the notes. I was wanting to just make the video later because I was just feeling way too tired, feeling and looking way too tired to get it out and actually create a video that seemed like somewhat sound. Yeah. I'm feeling mentally overstimulated now, but if I were to make it back then, just after the session, it would seem even less interesting than it does now, with the way how I'm speaking about it in a somewhat monotonous voice. I'm just trying to get this video done because I want to make the review, but I'm feeling mentally overstimulated at the same time. However, that's it. That's the end of the video. I can now let myself rest. So I'm going to do that, get this video out as soon as I can. And I've just finished this at 2:36 p.m. So I'll see how quickly it takes to get this video out. But yeah, I'm done. Cheers to getting these night reviews out at a time which I can handle and which I'm fully alert and awake. And cheers to doing more night workouts and taking care of my health in general. And if I do sense I'm overtraining, then I will stop the session, of course. But now I'm done. Peace. Cheers to getting more of these videos out.